All right.
All right, hey everybody. This is Jordan McConnell with the Crohn's Veteran Podcast. I'm joined by my co-hosts CJ Cabrera and Renika Wood. Today we are very grateful to have an awesome guy, my cousin, the executive director of the Greater Grove Hall Main Streets, and also the creator and founder of Sunday Celebrations. And so my cousin Ed Gaskin. Hi Ed, welcome, man.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here with the Crohn Veterans Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
I'm ready to rock with you guys. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, well, first things first. Tell the people, a little bit about yourself and what you like to talk about today.
I'm originally from Michigan, so as a Midwesterner, I can tell you that at one time growing up, I got a blue ribbon for the okra I grew in my garden.
Awesome.
Legit.
I was a member of 4-H, those kind of things, Cub Scouts. So the typical kind of part of the Midwest, it's not like the urban part of the Midwest. So growing up, we had about a half an acre of a vegetable garden. So it's both fruits and vegetables. And that's relevant to the stories and stuff that we'll talk about today. I remember one time I was coming down to the kitchen and my father said something like, you don't know how fortunate you are because you can walk into the backyard and get fresh fruits and vegetables anytime you want. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard of, because if I walked 2 blocks, I could get them from the grocery store, and I wouldn't have to plant them, seed them, weed them, harvest them, freeze, and all the other work. And I thought, that doesn't even make any sense. But now, looking back on it, I can understand and appreciate the wisdom in that comment.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I just had a person tell me one time, they said, you were a suburban kid with an urban mentality.
Awesome.
There's
there's all these food deserts and stuff now, where people just have no access to healthy fruits and vegetables, and so that is kind of a blessing to have that.
I know. I tried to call myself growing some cucumbers on my patio, but
now, how grew up a cucumber?
It did not work out like I wanted it to. I was like, my sister said, you got to make sure I was like, you told me to put them in the pot and let them, they'll work by themselves. They did. They didn't make it.
Maybe you should try cactus next time.
I think cactus be easier than cucumbers were, I think.
Right. Yeah. Like, a little guy decided that he wanted to grow I think watermelons or something in the backyard because we got some seeds, and so we all went in the backyard and just dug a little hole in the back and put the little seeds in there. So now he wants to water just water these random seeds in the backyard and hope that happens, and so it's pretty funny.
I hope one grow for him. It'd be so cute.
Right?
Like, oh my God, Dad, look at this.
Oh man, I know.
That's awesome.
I think the only time I ever grew something was in 4th grade, and it was a little plan. It was an assignment, but it grew.
Right.
Was it the potato you put in the water?
Nah, it was like a bean.
Oh yeah,
it was like a bean.
I didn't realize that. It's an artistry behind gardening and planting things for to grow and nourish it and nurture it. If you don't know what you're doing, you really can mess something up. My sister, they grew something, I think it was asparagus, but they said it's too many of them grew. They just grew all in the other crops, and it was growing so wow. They want to give me all these zucchini. I'm so tired of eating zucchini. I said, no, I'm fine. They grew a lot. They grew fast. So.
Well, awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about Sunday Celebrations, and and where the idea came from that, and what you hope to do with it.
Thank you. So I am Ed Gaskin. I am the founder of Sunday Celebrations, and idea was is that I had worked for other people for a long time until I wanted to have my own business, and I used to be senior vice president of a food company, Dancing Deer. And I thought of all the things I've done in life, I'd love to have my own food business. And I wanted it to do three things. I wanted it to make gourmet food, sort of rare, if not unique flavor profiles that were like award winning. I wanted it to be healthy, and I wanted it to be socially responsible. So those are the three things that I focused on. And I was studying, and then one day when I was researching, I realized that that basically most diet-related diseases fell in the categories of type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. And it was about in the 70-something-6% of all diet-related diseases, even though there's a lot more. And that they were caused by basically the consumption of too much salt, too much fat, and too much sugar. And so that's why, too much sugar usually leads to type 2 diabetes. Too much fat typically leads to cardiovascular disease, etc. And salt is highly related to hypertension. So most Americans, their recommendation is that you don't have more than 2,400 milligrams of sodium per day. Most Americans are at over 4,000. So that's really like a top level, but you do it day after day after day after day after day, and eventually it catches up to you. It's the same thing with the amount of sugar. You don't actually need, your body needs like 0 added sugar. And most people are at like 22 grams or whatever. It's a ton. So if you drink one Coke, that's basically like the upper limit of how much sugar you should have for the day, period. So anyway, so the idea was understanding the relationship between diet and disease. And then what I realized is, like I said, between the salt, fat, and sugar. So I just said, okay, I'm going to start my own food company, and I'm just going to make sure that it has no salt, fat, or sugar in it. And so because I didn't necessarily have an understanding of food chemistry at the time, I didn't appreciate what that meant. So if you're at all familiar with like Western style cooking, like that you might see from a French restaurant, right? Béarnaise sauce, hollandaise sauce, chocolate mousse, whatever. That's all fat stuff. Literally, like that's lots of sugar. So it's typically very decadent, very caloric and stuff like that. So how are you going to, on one hand, make stuff that's typically thought of as gourmet, which was my goal? Remember, I told you it's one of the 3 goals, but also make stuff that was healthy in a way that wasn't killing people. Right. So that was the original mission. And as I was working on it, I basically said that I wanted the food to be inclusive. And so understanding that the large percentage, I forget the number in my head, the large percentage of Americans that have an allergy to one of the top 8 allergens. So people who have a gluten intolerance, a dairy intolerance, a soy intolerance, nuts, peanuts, shellfish, fish, etc., the top 8 allergens. And I said, wow, why would we go to all this trouble to make something that was healthy and then still exclude a large percentage of the population because they can't have it because of their allergies? So this is one of those things that because I didn't know that I was trying to do the impossible, I actually succeeded. So if somebody would have told somebody like you can't use any dairy, any fat, any sugar, you can't use any all these things, but we want you to make a gourmet product, you probably wouldn't have. You said, well, I can't. That's impossible. There's too many restrictions. And I always laugh because sometimes if you always watch those cooking shows where they give you like the 3 things, like the chef shows, whatever, they say, here, create a dish with this. So it was almost kind of like that kind of a challenge. So what I did at the end is I started out with salad dressings and marinades. Those were the first products I came out with. And people would always joke with me. They'd say, well, Ed, like, given how many things that you're doing, right? It's going to be vegan. It's going to be all natural. It's going to be, and have all these other restrictions. Are you using cardboard? Like, what else is there left to work with? And so the first products on the salad dressing side were things like mimosa, strawberries and champagne, carrot orange gram marsala, watermelon gazpacho, tomato with Virgin Mary spices, sangria, etc. And the trick is that everything that I developed from then on, I basically used fruit juice as the base. So if you took fruit juice, you could make all these different kinds of things with it. And because fruits or vegetables are basically they're vegan, they're plant based. They only have the natural sugar that's in them. There's no allergens unless you're like making something from soy, and so it fit all those different kinds of criteria. And the same thing on the marinades. So I made black cherry sweet and sour sauce. I made plum ginger chai. I made mango jerk, etc. And so now you were able to have all these marinades that fit the same category. And so once I understood the food chemistry that was involved, the issue was what other categories could we do? So, for example, teriyaki sauce is typically made with a lot of sodium, and it's made with soy. So could I make a teriyaki soy sauce using neither soy nor sodium? And I did raspberry teriyaki. And then something like chimichurri, for instance, is made with a lot of fat. So could I make a fat-free chimichurri? And I did. I did chimichurri with pineapple and lime. And like talking about gravy is typically made with fat. So could I make a fat-free gravy? And I mentioned the other day that I did it with cranberries and apples. So like that would be a great one for fall if you were having something like turkey. And but now you're talking about a gravy that has 0% fat in it. And so it doesn't have like the fat drippings. It doesn't have, all the other kind of ways that we'd make that. But the idea was to do it in category after category. So could I make jelly, which is about 65% sugar with no sugar, which I was able to do. So the idea was to demonstrate that you could make gourmet products in a number of different categories with these gourmet flavor profiles that were clearly going to be healthier than what could consistently existed in terms of its relationship to diet-related disease.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm looking like I can put that on some chicken, some shrimp.
I'm gonna connect with you.
I understand. I'm not a good cook, but them sauces, I'm like, this sounds good with some chicken and some fish right about now. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, that does sound awesome, especially the marinades and stuff. Yeah, me too. I kind of want some so I mean, so we have with Crohn's disease and like ulcerative colitis. There's a big long list of things that just don't work very well for for the average person with these conditions. Yeah, I mean, everything, so literally. Exactly, yeah. And so I mean, that's probably one of the things that stood out when we were talking, during our reunion and stuff, is that all the things, it sounds like a Crohn's disease list of all the things that you can't have type thing.
Right.
Yeah, because so is there with stuff like not being able to have like beans or spicy foods or fried foods or carbonated things, have you would you be interested in kind of tailoring any of your products to people with IBD, or is there anything that you think off the top of your head that you think that you've developed that might be IBD friendly?
Well, again, remember, if you think of the list of the stuff that's not included, the only thing that you mentioned, in other words, if I'm doing something that's plant-based, it's basically a juice of some type, it's vegan, it's all natural, it's, like I said, little or no salt, fat, or sugar, and none of the top 8 allergens, right? So you don't have the gluten there. So the only thing that would be even potentially an issue for the somebody who had IBD, as you were talking about, or Crohn's, might be the spices on some of the either the marinades or stuff like that. But the issue is that I've always tried to formulate them as mild, because people always want to make things hotter, but if you have something that's hot, you can't make it less mild. So people can always add hot sauce. If you've noticed, Black people always have hot sauce somewhere around, and they're like trying to spice it up. So in my case, it allowed people to make it hotter, and therefore I felt that there was a bigger market for just keeping it mild. So like I said, so the ones that I mentioned was the carrot orange gram marsala. If you're familiar with Indian food, that's not a particularly spicy one. And even there, what I focus on is the carrot and the orange with a little bit of the spice just to give it some flavor. And the same thing with the tomato with Virgin Mary spices. So if you're used to drinking Bloody Marys, you can have it spicy or you can have it hot. But mine was just the idea to give the tomato juice basically some flavor.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So like, have you thought about bottling this stuff up, or have you? And have you thought about or putting the effort into putting it in stores, or setting up a website, or anything like that to for people?
So there's a yes and no. So originally when I came up with this stuff, probably about 5 years ago, I had a friend kind of like you, or maybe Renika up there, who said, you got to go to Whole Foods with this stuff. So, they got on me. So we went there and I had like 22 of these little jars, and I was meeting with the buyer. They tried every one of them. And the guy said, we'll take everything here. And he said, here's the paper to fill out, and et cetera, et cetera. And I did what all budding entrepreneurs do. I never came back. So that's one of my sad stories in life. But I plan on reapproaching that. But what he said was very interesting. He told me why they were interested in the products. He said, the products that you have are different than what we have on the shelf. Mm-hmm. So if I had, Thousand Island blue cheese, French, Caesar, all those, he said, we already have a bunch of those. We don't have a carrot orange gram marsala and a watermelon gazpacho, right? So just from a flavor profile, it's different than what we have. So that's why we're interested. And the second thing was, it's healthier than what we have. We don't have anything that's that healthy. So like if you took my nutritional statements and you read them, it would be total fat, 0. And in all the zeros, in terms of salt, fat, sugar, they're all zeros. There's like nothing there because it's just fruit. And so he said, it's healthier than what we have. So on those two things, that's why we'd be interested. He also told me something that I thought was interesting. And he said, whatever you do, don't market the products as healthy. And I was sort of curious because I said, well, isn't this Whole Foods? He said, nobody eats healthy stuff. And he said that's why the brown rice tacos go out of code, because they just sit on the shelf. Nobody wants to eat that. And so he was basically telling me focus on the gourmet side, not the healthy side. So so I do have samples. I've taken them to various kinds of celebrity chefs and all that, and they've said, this is really good, because sometimes you have a way of convincing yourself that you have something that's better than what you think it is. So I've had numerous external taste tests from people who've done blind taste tests, whatever. And they like it, and part of the reason why they like it is because what they're tasting is fresh fruit. So if you're tasting the strawberries and champagne, you're tasting strawberries and champagne.
Right.
And people like that taste profile, so that works. And so it's a little bit thicker than what it would be if it was wine, but the thickness is what allows it to cling to the leaves and the lettuce or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, so now that you've told me that you have all these communication vehicles and social media and whatever, I'll have to hit you up to help me promote my product once I actually have it in the bottle.
Exactly.
A good question is,
yes.
Are these meals, are they easily digestible? I mean, because they can be healthy, but I'm not going to eat it if I can't digest it,
Well, so if you have a salad dressing, what are you going to put it on? Unless you're planning on drinking it from the bottle.
I might type thing. So,
exactly.
Right.
Well, let's just talk about that. So what happened was the people who had it at first were doing different kinds of experiments with it. So I had a woman that I had another one that was blueberries and red wine was a salad dressing, and she just said, I'm putting that on my pancakes because typically syrup has so much sugar in it. Mm-hmm. And so for her, that was a great alternative. I had another person who took the strawberry and champagne one and made popsicles with it. because it's actually champagne vinegar. It's not champagne wine. And so she said, look, it's basically, it's like strawberry juice, and you're freezing it in an ice cube tray and giving it to your kids. And I was like, I never thought of that. And so what I began to realize is that there was a number of ways that people were using this stuff. People were using them in like coleslaw and making all these different flavors. Like I had this pineapple coleslaw. I never had anything like that before, but I had one of the dressings was pineapple and Polynesian spice. And so anyway, so people were working with it, obviously coming up with all these ways to use it, and for them the plus was that it was also now healthy. So it gave them a tool. If you were a dietitian, it gave you a tool to start creating other kinds of dishes, knowing that you had this core base to work with.
That's awesome. I know when you mentioned about the different type of allergens, it's in foods, the soy, the dairy, and all that good stuff. With us having irritable bowel disease, those are a lot of the triggering foods for us. And I know a lot of persons now are focusing more on the gluten, and people have these other type of allergies. As you get older, your body do change. Like as I got older, I had developed a food intolerance to peanuts. I cannot eat. And then lately I have developed one to cashews. Now it's almonds. So I'm learning that my body cannot digest foods as such, but more of the natural foods I can eat. However, I've learned now that I cannot eat like a lot of fruit, like watermelon. I had watermelon last week and it made me very, very, very uncomfortable. And it really had like a little interaction with my Crohn's. But I think that what you're doing is awesome. A lot of persons could really benefit from what you have going on, because a lot of persons are trying to get more on the healthier side. Look at CJ, his head raised up on the healthier side. But we want to live, enjoy food with taste, but still be able to be healthy in the process of us, eating the good food. So the juices you mentioned, that Parmesan, pineapple, I was like, God, it sounds like I mean, they sound so tasty. Oh my God, it sound. I've never had them before, but I can only imagine how they taste, how you sound, how you talk about them, so with much passion. But I think this is awesome. I would love to have some of that Parmesan.
Right. Right. Yes.
Parmesan.
Yes. So send send Renika a sample. but speaking of social media, I mean that's these products are ripe. For social media and stuff, and and just and you're mentioning how people make their own stuff out of that. I mean, you could have just a whole page out of just people making all these cool things with your products and stuff, and showing the versatility of them and stuff, and
so it's true. It's funny. I remember one time this woman was tasting the sangria salad dressing. And she was like, man, I'd love this on ice cream. This thinking like that goes totally against the healthy part. But I understood what she was saying, is because it's not chocolate sauce, it's not peanut sauce. It's like this is like a whole other way to think about dessert toppings and stuff. But it's the same thing. And again, what I was trying to do, and you guys will appreciate this, I said, let's just do like the lowest common denominator so that the most people can have it. And part of the reason why I did it was because, like, let's say you have 10 people over for a dinner party or dinner or Thanksgiving or anything like that, right? I guarantee you that there's people there who are going to say, I'm on this diet, that diet, I have whatever. So what I was afraid of is what I had seen in my house is that you'd have people over, and then somebody would have, whatever it is that their particular diet, and they would get like a salad. But everybody else would get to eat the fried chicken. Everybody else would get the ribs. Like everybody else would get all the good food and be like, okay, this is what you get. And I said, that's not inclusive. Like we should all be able to eat the same meal. And I said, now how do you feel being left out? Like everybody, So I was coming from that perspective, which is why I was so focused on trying to make something that was basically compatible with a wide range of diets. So when I looked at one time at U.S. News and World Report, And at that time, they had 23 diets that existed, and what I had created was compatible with all 23 of them, and that was what I had in mind.
That's amazing.
So, are you vegan? Do you have any type of diet restriction? Can I ask you that?
I should, but I don't. I eat all this stuff. I told people I couldn't be vegan because I like barbecue too much.
Okay.
And I don't eat barbecue like barbecue hamburger, barbecue. Like I want something like ribs and stuff.
Wrap it up.
Right. You know, all of it type thing. You know, I mean, that's my thing too. I mean, I like barbecue and all that stuff too. But you know, so much of that fatty meat is just. It's a big no.
I love barbecue, but I had to.
Barbecue doesn't love you?
Exactly. I went like 2 years without eating barbecue. Like a few months ago was like the first time in like a few years that I actually ate a rib. I loved every second of it.
I stopped eating pork and beef about like 2 years now, almost 3, going on 3 years. I did have I'm calling it a lapse where my family had pizza one day and they asked me that once. I was like, no, I don't want a pizza. I was like, damn, I ain't a little hungry though. Ooh, yeah, pepperoni on it. That was the worst decision I made that day. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no, Renika.
My body cannot, like, girl, you know better than this. Why did you do this? Why did you do that?
I know.
I had to stop eating beef. Like, I'm Hispanic, and we eat a lot of like carne asada and all that stuff. And I honestly had to let it go because it's becoming too rough for me, like to digest. So it's making like my bathroom visits like way unpleasant.
Right.
Exactly.
And are you familiar with Crohn's and colitis?
Only the crash course I got from Jordan there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, I mean,
he gave me like a 3-minute explanation.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, but just from my perspective, I mean, Crohn's is this. It can affect the entire gastrointestinal system and stuff, and people, everybody's experience with Crohn's is different. I've had, surgeries and, resections and, temporary ostomies and all these kind of things and stuff. And, but other people just, can, do a diet change and they're kind of fine. And so, it really depends, like lifestyle choices and stuff can have a big impact on that. And, but you can do but one of the biggest things with Crohn's, since it's a chronic condition and everything, you can do everything right. You can avoid carne asada, you can avoid, pizza or whatever, and, do all these things. Take
your medications.
Yeah, take your medications and still feel like a big heaping pile of garbage. So,
yeah.
And so like,
everything's a stress inducer. Everything.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah, all the, life stresses and stuff, there's like a direct line to your stomach for that. And
that's
so,
true.
So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was saying, like, so it's kind of like, so not only did they do these, healthy things, but you also almost do this kind of like Zen master, positive vibes to the, good vibes. I read Jamaican thing, just to right.
CJ has colitis, so it's different than Crohn's.
Yes.
It's different. You want to share it? Like, it's still under the same umbrella of irritable bowel disease, but it's more so like different parts of the
so Crohn's affects like it can affect the whole GI tract, and I believe ulcerative colitis is like the rectum or the small intestine.
Small intestine, the ileum, isn't the ileum?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it also has a chance to turn into Crohn's. That's another thing.
It does. A lot of people have a lot of misdiagnosis early on. About me, one second about me. When I first got diagnosed with irritable bowel disease, I was under the scale of having ulcerative colitis. And the medication treatment are kind of similar to Crohn's, but some medications are more aggressive than others because it affects different part of the GI tract. So that's why with us, we'd be very mindful of our foods because some parts of our GI tract can be inflamed with ulcers. So you may be doing good at one part of colon, but the top part of colon doing bad. Like with Crohn's, it affects from your mouth to your anal area. So you can have ulcers and sores and scars and lesions and fissures and fistulas and abscesses. It go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But your gut health is very important, and the food we eat is an extra additive of us being healthy. But in the same token, our emotional stress can also be a factor. So having the mental and the physical can be a big part as us being in a good day or having a bad day. So
right.
It's basically how it. And I think now it's becoming more awareness is out there more now. You see more commercial on television. Beforehand, a lot of persons I think had this disease, but no one knew exactly how to identify it, or no one took the time to really investigate or discover what was going on with someone individually.
Yeah, and Ed, there's like something like 3 million people in the United States that have some kind of form of IBD, I believe. Or Crohn's disease, and so so it's crazy. I mean, there's 380 million people in the United States, and so so it's crazy. There's still 3 million people that have it, but it's very possible, just like you, that you can kind of walk through life and not really know that many people that have it, because it's like there's a lot of us, but we're still kind of spread pretty thin.
Also, you can get diagnosed at any age as well.
Yeah,
because I know Jordan, he told me that he got diagnosed very young age, and
14.
I got diagnosed when I was 24.
And I was 26.
Yeah, I mean, so that was
took me blindsided.
Yeah, it's amazing now, because with the I'm gonna say this, with the lack of education, like some individuals are not able to get their diets to be changed. You have to drink or eat what they give. Like, for example, the whole milk in the store. If you have Crohn's disease, that red milk in the store, the red top on the yellow milk.
The whole milk.
Right. It's very inexpensive, like $1.88 sitting here. When I tell you one little blink, you'll be dead in the hospital on the table. But
right.
The whole milk, the lactose milk, the new, what's it called, that with a count on it, something life, that milk. It's like,
I know what you're talking about, but
it's so good. I drink it now. So bougie. It's like $5 a bottle because it's so inexpensive. But other milks, but other stuff that's less expensive. It's not good for us. With buy food is more expensive, but having these whole and these natural remedies or natural foods to eat, the vegetables can be a big factor in, I think, our quality of health and eating healthy.
Yeah, and so that's a great question for Ed. And so so for your products and stuff, for these marinades and salad dressings and stuff, like what were the price points on those? Were those kind of like were they pretty affordable, or they kind of was the idea to make them affordable, or what were your ideas or plans around pricing them?
You smell.
So I believe it was going to be $7.95 for 16 ounces. So, so it compared to, let's say, like Ranch, Hidden Valley, or any other things on the shelf, it's actually less expensive. What most people don't realize, unless you actually look at it, is that something like a salad dressing, it might be in a bottle that's only 8 ounces. So it might be, let's say 8 ounces for $3.99. So you see the $3.99, you think, oh, that must be cheap. But obviously, because it's so little product there, that you actually have to buy 2 of them to get the same thing of effect. But anyway, so on a per ounce basis, it's actually less expensive. But part of the thing was on what was the actual size of the container that they're in.
Gotcha. Oh, cool. Gotcha. Awesome. Well, that was kind of my last question. I think we're gonna wrap it up today. It's been about 30 minutes, I think, or so.
Well, this was fantastic.
Right.
I hope I get to come back. At least you guys are fun.
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate.
I guess you delivered.
Yeah, thanks. Well, please, tell your friends, type thing. If you run
my 2 friends that have this.
Right. Yeah. Please, if you know anybody that's, that has IBD, Crohn's, colitis, IBS, and they're interested in sharing their story. I mean, it doesn't matter, to me, every walk of life with Crohn's, is an interesting story to tell.
Yep.
And
all right.
And so, so just in general, we're looking, we're not picky, we're interested in everybody's story. And so,
where could we? I'm sorry to break you off, Jordan. Where could we find these products if we wanted to try them
unless you know me?
I mean, you trying to try them out.
You gotta talk to Jordan to get a hookup over here. Say, Jordan, hook me up.
All right,
Jordan, do the thing, man.
All right, I will make it happen. We'll make it happen. And so, one last
pineapple,
right? And so, yeah. So again, guys, we're joined today by my dear cousin Ed Gaskin. Check us out on our website www.crohnsveteran.com. Check us out on our YouTube channel, the Crohn's Veteran YouTube channel. We're on Twitch. My buddy CJ Cabrera's channel is called Chill Ghost. So check him out and help us up our per show watch rate. That would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Instagram at official.crohnsveteran, at crohnsveteran, at Purpuro, and at Crohn's_and_sexy with 2 X's.
Oh my!
Right. And so the team is awesome over here, and so so we appreciate all the love and all the support here. Please subscribe, and again, Ed, thank you for your time, man.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to come back. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Yes, nice meeting everybody.